What up, y'all? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to my channel if you're already a subscriber. And if this is your first time joining me on today, go ahead, hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. So, first off, happy Monday, y'all. Hope you're having a beautiful beginning of the week, okay? Recovering from the weekend. So, I want to talk about Pablo Escobar. I know I have a fairly young subscribership, and a lot of y'all are born after 95, but let your big sis Megan put you on to some game, okay? If you don't know. Pablo Escobar is and has and will go down in history as one of the most notorious, most violent, most successful, world game-changing drug cartel leaders in fucking history, okay? In the late 80s, early 90s, he terrorized Colombia because that's where he was from. And he basically introduced the whole concept of selling cocaine in large quantities to America at that. So his activity and the rise and success of his cartel actually helped to escalate the drug war that was happening in America, which is still ongoing to this day, all right? So, and I was watching Narcos over the weekend. I am a binge watcher on Netflix, so I watched the Colombia edition of Narcos as well as the Mexico edition of Narcos. And I must say, I knew that this man was violent. I knew he had a very nefarious kind of background, obviously being a major figure in a drug cartel, but I did not know how bad it was, y'all. This man was responsible for hundreds and thousands, okay, of murders in Colombia. He waged a war on the whole state at some point, killing officers, killing men, women, children. This man killed kids, wiped out whole families, right? And not only did he kill people, he tortured. There would be situations in where he would have members of his team shoot people in the head. They would dismember them, cut them up into little pieces, and throw their bodies on the barbecue grill like they having a 4th of July cookout, And this man would just do this so calm, cool, collected, so callous. He had very little regard for human life, and it's crazy. It's mind-blowing that somebody could be capable of this. And he did it all in the name of his business, all in the name of his profits. And in a way, in a sick, twisted way, it's admirable because, you have people who come from this third world country, who were born in huts and villages, who walked on dirt roads, who had nothing, and they were able to create this multi-billion-dollar empire. However, the fact that they were able to kill, destroy anything and anyone who crossed their paths with so little regard for human life and just so casually, it's scary. And it made me wonder what's going on in this man's chart. So here we go. Let's go ahead, look into it. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's do it. So Pablo Escobar was born on December 1st, 1949 at 11:50 a.m. in Medellin, I think that's how you say it, Medellin, Colombia. Now, I misspelled his name here, but mind your business, overlook that, okay? That's not important. So, with that said, first of all, his birthday just passed 2 days ago. I was like, wow, okay, so he's definitely a Sagittarius. These mutable signs, what do I say? They will kill you. Okay, mutable signs are fucking dangerous. So, his sun is in Sagittarius, and this also makes his moon in the sign of Aries. Now, I thought this right away. I was a little, okay, this makes a little bit of sense because Aries moon people tend to be very expressive, very fiery in nature. And so when you add this to somebody who has a mutable sun, right? You got cardinal fire on top of mutable fire. You are in for a whirlwind of shit, all right? These people tend to be very aggressive, very willful, very expressive, very great leader. So this explains why he was able to rise to power and status in his respected career field. These people are game changers, right? Trailblazers. So right away, moon-sun combination spoke volumes. Also, I noticed that his moon is conjoined to his black moon Lilith in the sign of Aries, and they are both at the 25th degree. Now, let me tell you something about the 25th degree. It breaks down to the number 7, and the number 7 is associated with completion, right? Because they say God took 7 days to create the world and the stars and blah, blah, blah. So it's associated with success, completion, right? So this could represent the way he was able to accomplish so much, but it's also associated with cruelty. It's associated with somebody who is very oblivious to the pain of other people, somebody who has very little regard for the feelings of other people. It's associated with backstabbing. It's associated with somebody who can be very aloof, very kind of careless when it comes to other people, that me first kind of attitude, which reinforces that Aries energy. Aries is very impulsive. Aries is very selfish. Aries wants to accomplish, it wants to achieve, it's very competitive. And if the drug game isn't a competitive sport, I don't know what is, okay? It's built off of the premise of this is my territory, this is my spot, my mark. If you intrude or impede on my business, if you make me look weak, if you do something I don't like, I'm killing you, your mammy, your kids, and your goldfish. Good day, sir. And the fact that this is in his second house, okay, because he's a Pisces rising. So Aries falls in his second house of values, of money, of wealth. So this could point towards somebody who is very headstrong, very demanding, very determined, very strong-willed about obtaining money, about obtaining status and wealth and what they feel to be theirs. Somebody who don't play about their money. And there were countless stories about Pablo and what he did to people who got in the way of him building his empire, who got in the way of him acquiring his resources, his money, his values even. Like I said, this is the house of values. What he valued making money. He valued torturing people and fucking people up who tried to prevent that from happening, okay? He had no qualms about using people, innocent people, as collateral damage. He had no qualms about using sadistic tactics, methods, torture, all kinds of things in order to get his point across. And at the end of the day, this was all about securing the bag. His bottom line. People who have Aries in the second house tend to be very, they don't have to be Pablo Escobar, but they're very determined and take a very serious competitive approach about their money and their business. And so the fact that he has his moon conjoined to his black moon Lilith in this house explains all of that, okay? And this placement also deals with instruments of violence, sharp objects, things of that nature. So obviously it goes back to reinforce the whole concept of him killing and using murder and torture as a casual way to run his business. Aries in the second house makes for great entrepreneurs, obviously. And his moon also makes a square to his Venus in his 12th house, or his 11th house, of Capricorn. And this could point towards somebody who's very popular, very well known for their status, right? Or for this very nefarious kind of hard-nosed reputation that he has. Somebody who is very successful, especially by way of friends, by way of organizations, big organizations. Somebody who is very popular and charming, but may tend to veer a little bit more on like the wasteful side. And a lot of people, when I was watching the documentaries and things of that nature, they were saying that he had just ridiculous, like he would do ridiculous things with his money. He had like a ranch, like almost like a Never Neverland style ranch, and I mean had wheelers, four wheelers, boats, giraffes, exotic pets. I mean anything that you can think of. Jets. The very first jet that he used to fly his first cocaine shipment, he had like a replica of that jet made outside of his gates, like propped up in front of. It's like crazy. So a lot of people, especially in that lifestyle, you get a lot of money and you start getting very wasteful and things of that nature, just with your money, with your wealth and stuff. So also, like I said, this kind of points towards somebody who has a high status because his Venus is in the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn is all about status. And Capricorn also has a reputation, just in the zodiac, for being very relentless, right? Being very disciplined, being very, and on the negative side, somebody who will do anything in order to achieve their means, right? They'll walk all over people, that people can be used like, dispensably. They'll do whatever it takes in order for them to achieve the things that they want. So this definitely reinforces that type of energy signature here that's reoccurring in his chart. So he was a very hard working man, but also a type of man who did what he had to do, regardless as to what the obstacle was or who was standing in his way. And his moon in square to his Jupiter, his 12th house Jupiter, really just compounds on that wastefulness, that extravagance, because this points towards somebody who is very, just very, because Jupiter makes everything bigger. So this could be somebody who overindulges, whether it be in food, alcohol, and keep in mind, I mean, they literally are in a drug cartel. So you have all of these things at your disposal on the regular. The moon even could represent women in a man's chart. So because it's the mother, it's the divine, it's nurturing and things that are associated with the femininity kind of energy. So this could also translate in him having an excessive amount of women, in which he did. You got to keep in mind, a lot of men with status and with power and things of that nature, they have a lot of women. That just kind of comes with the territory in and of itself. Also, this could point towards Pablo taking a lot of pride in decorating his home. And something that I found interesting was I was watching one of the documentaries, and they were saying that no matter what was going on, like Pablo really, really, really enjoyed decorating his house. His house was lavish, extravagant. He pulled out all the stops. Okay. There was a point in time when he was supposed to go to prison, but he, I guess, had the state agree to let him build his own prison. So he had his workers and his team built him this huge mansion that came with like a jacuzzi, and I mean he hung up $1 million paintings in the mansion. Like, this man really enjoyed, he had a thing for luxury, lavish items, and enjoyed putting them in his home. And the moon is the natural ruler of the fourth house in a chart, in your chart. So that represents like home. It represents home. It represents the mother. It represents your, immediate surroundings, what makes you feel comfortable. So a lot of people with moon, like prominent Cancer energy, or in this case, moon Jupiter aspects, are very known to, decorate their houses very nicely. Mr. Escobar had Pluto in his sixth house of Leo, and this was so telling, because Pluto in the sixth house usually deals with somebody that's working in a very, I guess you could say, taboo side of life, or a very taboo profession. Depending on the other things in the chart, this could be a placement for prostitutes. This could be a placement for undertakers, people who work, I mean, in Pablo's case, with drugs, who kill people, assassins, people who deal with death, sex. I mean, Scorpio is the sign of Pluto, right? So anything that encompasses that scorpionic kind of energy are jobs that a lot of people tend to have when their Pluto is in the sixth house. And Pablo's Pluto is making certain aspects that kind of just confirm that. So his Neptune is in sextile to his Pluto, which points towards the successful killing of so many people. The reason why he was able to get away with it, because Neptune and Pluto creates conspiracy. It could create murder. So this definitely confirms that, and his Neptune is in his eighth house. So I mean, anytime you have eight, because the Scorpio naturally rules the eighth house anyway. So Neptune in the eighth house creates secrets. It creates hidden secrets. Like I said, things that are just associated with the darker parts of nature. I cannot stress enough how much this man killed killed people. Like he killed hundreds of thousands of people, literally. So, there's that. That definitely points towards that. His moon is also enshrined to his Pluto as well. So remember all of the aspects and activity he has going on with his moon, especially with it being conjoined to his black moon Lilith. And then you add Pluto in his sixth house in the mix. This man was a destined criminal, a destined, like, literal criminal mastermind, and a psychopath, like a murderer, might I add. Very intelligent, but a murderer nonetheless. So this also reinforces him being willing to murder people on the regular in order to expand his business. Now, his sun is conjoined to his Mercury as well as his Chiron in the 10th house in the sign of Sagittarius. And this points towards somebody who is very freedom seeking. And I think, and your 10th house is what you're known for, your reputation. And I think that was his thing, being able to start a business, to be able to become free and rid himself of poverty. And that's a special type of poverty. Like I said, in Colombia, these people were born in huts and whatnot, walking down dirt roads with no shoes on their feet. So somebody who wanted to defy traditional society or your traditional means of working in order to kind of, innovate, be innovative, and create a new lane, a new business for themselves so that they can provide for them and their family. And because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, this gives you, wherever this touches in your chart, it gives you a sense of luck, success. So this can point towards him being very successful. This also points towards him being very popular too, because he, at some point or several points throughout his career, he became involved in politics. He kind of became this hero or champion of the people at a certain point, or at least, for a period of time. And a lot of people knew him. He was very well known. He loved attention. He was very charismatic. And this placement can point towards that. Somebody who enjoys attention. Your sun it rules Leo. It's the natural ruler of Leo. So, and it's proud, right? It's proud. It wants to be seen. It wants to be a leader. It wants to shine. It wants authority. So this can point towards all of those traits that he had. And his Jupiter was in square to his Uranus, which pointed towards him being a thrill seeker, him being unorthodox. I mean, let's be real, he had a very unorthodox profession. This points towards somebody who breaks free of tradition and of routine. So, and with his Jupiter, like I said, being in his 12th house, his Uranus being in his 5th house, this definitely it definitely points towards those things. Like I said, it also reinforces him being a ladies' man, him being involved in unconventional relationships, having lots of women, being unpredictable. A lot of people say he was unpredictable. And yeah. And finally, Pablo was a Aries North Node with his South Node in the sign of Libra. And this could point towards the fact that in a previous lifetime, or maybe earlier in life, like as a child, if you don't believe in reincarnation, Pablo was somebody who did not like confrontation, oddly enough. So, and given that his North Node falls in his second house with his moon, with his black moon Lilith, this could just really point towards the fact that it was destined for him to come into this lifetime and achieve a lot of things, to fight. His sole mission in this lifetime was to be a fighter, was to be somebody who actually stepped out and did for themselves, who weren't afraid to stand up. And I mean, he did that. He did that. And so this is a key example of somebody who lived up to their life's or their soul's mission, but it wasn't necessarily a completely positive thing, depending on how you looked at it, which kind of changes the dynamics of the conversation when we're talking about why we put on this planet. Why are we put on earth? Because a lot of times they tend to think that everybody's purpose or everybody's path and their destiny is, something so positive and what people would deem to be so great, so awesome. And I guess you could say all of these things are subjective. All of these things are subjective. What's good to somebody else, might be bad to another person. So I don't know that really made me wonder, because he definitely fulfilled his soul's mission. He accomplished so many things in this lifetime, but at the same time, he was like, he was a terrorist. Like, he tortured. He brought a lot of heartache, a lot of pain to a lot of people. So I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about it. But that concludes my reading. I just covered a few of the things that just stood out to me in his chart. So drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys seen Narcos? Like, what are your thoughts? I'm ready for them to come out with another season because I'm like addicted. So with that being said, make sure you guys practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I'm